My name is Isabella. Until recently, I thought my family was ordinary, predictable, and safe. A quiet home in the suburbs, a loving but strict mother, and my father always busy with work, yet always present when needed. I had an older sister, Claire, or at least, I had thought I did. For as long as I could remember, there was a gap in our family photos. A space on the wall where a picture of Claire should have been. Empty chairs at holiday dinners. Whispers behind closed doors. But I had never pressed. My parents always said she was away at school or traveling with friends. It was normal, or so I thought. Then one ordinary Thursday, everything changed. I received a letter with no return address. Inside, a single sentence was scrawled in ink that seemed both hurried and deliberate. Your sister is alive. Find her before it's too late. My hands shook as I reread it. Alive. My sister. But everyone had always said she was just gone. I stared at the envelope, half expecting it to vanish in my hands, as if reality itself had decided to play a cruel trick. That night, I couldn't sleep. Questions raced through my mind. Why had my parents never told me the truth? Who sent the letter? And most importantly, where was Claire? The next morning, I tried to confront my parents. Mom, Dad, Claire, she's alive, isn't she? My voice was barely a whisper, but my mother froze, her eyes darting nervously toward the window. My father didn't answer, he just rubbed his forehead, silent and tense. I realized then that my life, my memories, even my sense of reality had been carefully constructed around a lie. A lie so vast it could have taken decades to perfect. Determined, I began digging. Old letters, dusty photo albums, forgotten diaries. I scoured every corner of our home. In my parents' bedroom, hidden beneath a false bottom in the dresser, I found a small box. Inside were letters addressed to Claire, unopened, yellowed with age. The words were heart-wrenching, full of love, sorrow, and fear. Each letter hinted at a secret life, a forced separation, and a family desperate to protect me from some unimaginable truth. Days turned into nights as I followed each clue. Locations, dates, names, all seemingly random at first, but patterns emerged. I discovered that Claire had been placed in a distant foster family shortly after my 10th birthday. Under circumstances my parents refused to explain. Even her name had been changed, erased from official records, replaced with another identity. Then came the first lead outside the house. A former family friend, now elderly, agreed to meet me in a quiet cafe. She spoke in hushed tones, her eyes darting around the room as if someone might be listening. They did what they thought was best, she said. Your sister, she's been kept safe, hidden from people who might hurt her. I pressed for more. Where? How? But she could only shake her head. You'll have to find the rest yourself. Time is running out. The sense of urgency tightened like a vice. Every clue I uncovered led to another, deeper secret. I found school records, old letters from teachers, and even private photographs of a young girl who looked exactly like Claire, smiling, but in a place I had never been allowed to visit. Then one night, a stranger called my phone. A voice, low and cautious, said, "Stop looking or you'll endanger her. But if you insist, meet me at the train station at midnight." Alone, fear battled curiosity, but I couldn't stop. I arrived at the deserted station, fog rolling in between the tracks. The stranger emerged from the shadows, a man with sharp eyes, familiar yet foreign. He handed me an envelope, identical in style to the one that had started it all. Inside were photos. Claire, older now, living a life completely separate from mine. Smiling with friends, walking streets I'd never known, seemingly ordinary, yet utterly unreachable. Alongside the photos was a note. "She knows nothing of you. Her world must remain untouched until now. Decide wisely." For days, I wrestled with the choice. Do I reveal myself, disrupt the life she has been carefully given, risk shattering her world, or do I continue searching, hopping for a safer way to connect? Every night, I imagined her face, her eyes, her voice, and I couldn't bear the thought of waiting any longer. I traced every lead, traveling from city to city, piecing together fragments of her life. Each encounter, teachers, neighbors, old friends, added to the picture. Claire had grown into a resilient, intelligent young woman, unaware of the web of lies that had kept us apart. Then a breakthrough. A former foster parent provided a name, an apartment, a life carefully constructed for her protection. My heart raced. I knew I had finally reached the point of no return. The day I found her apartment, every step felt surreal. I stood outside the door, hesitant, my hand hovering over the doorknob. What would I say? How would she react? When she opened the door, her eyes widened in cautious surprise. She looked like herself, yet not like the little girl I had remembered from family photos. And yet, there was something unmistakably familiar. I think I'm your sister," I stammered, my voice shaking. Her expression flickered, confusion, caution, curiosity. Then, slowly, she nodded. "I've always wondered if someone was looking for me," she whispered. Over the following days, we shared our stories. Mine of searching and uncovering secrets, hers of being raised in isolation, protected yet lonely. Each revelation was bittersweet, a mixture of anger, relief, and awe at the resilience we had both developed. But the story didn't end with reunion. Shadows of the past lingered. The people who orchestrated our separation were still out there, watching, ensuring that some secrets remained buried. Every document, every message, every hidden fact reminded us that the danger had never fully passed. We began cautiously piecing together the full story, discovering who had manipulated our lives, why Claire had been hidden, and the forces that had dictated our separation. Letters, old bank accounts, and coded notes led to the realization that our family's past was tangled in layers of secrecy deeper than we had imagined. One night, as we sat together in her apartment, I held her hand and whispered, "We can't change the past, but maybe we can reclaim the future." She nodded, eyes shining with determination. Together, and that is where my story stands today, unfinished, filled with peril, and driven by a bond that had been hidden for far too long. Every clue we uncover, every shadow we confront, brings us closer to understanding the truth, but also closer to danger. Because some sisters aren't lost, they're waiting to be found. Thank you for listening to my story. If it captivated you, please subscribe, like, and share this video. I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world.